Alrighty, how's it going, Mets and overall baseball fans? Thank you guys all so much for chiming in for the latest episode of Bleav in Queens here on the WardyNYM YouTube channel, or of course wherever you get your audio podcasts. This is episode 50 now. Can't believe we've already done 50 of these things. My goodness, it's fast. It really is happening in a snap of a finger, it feels like. But myself, Wardy, you guys know, that is Anthony Recker, that you guys know, that is Joe Sorrella, that I hope you guys know. And we're going to be going over all the latest for the Mets this spring training, including the game that's unraveling as we speak, even though there's not really much to talk about. You know, the Mets are getting no hit in the bottom of 6 against Team Nicaragua in a exhibition game that isn't televised, that there's no radio broadcast. So that's going on. Aside from that, however, we're going to be going over again who stood out thus far in the first week and a half or 2 weeks here of spring. Jose Quintana's injury, what does it mean for the Mets rotation? Kodai Senga making his official debut here in spring. How did he look? And overall World Baseball Classic preview and predictions, as the Mets, all players that are going to be in the WBC, are already starting to play for their respective teams. So a lot to get into, excited as always. But before I do, I of course have to let you all know that today's show is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is your number one source for all your sports betting needs. Make sure you head over to betonline.ag using promo code Bleav at BLEAV. That way you get yourself a 50% off welcome bonus. BetOnline, it's where the games begin. Gentlemen, let's officially let the show begin. How are we this evening?
Doing great, man. Just trying to see if you know any Mets who wore the number 50, Wardy.
I do. It's funny because he's technically, like, I don't know if he counts, but I'm just gonna go with the recency bias and say Francisco Alvarez.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, definitely most notable has got to be Sid Fernandez.
Yes.
In the 80s.
Yeah.
Looking down this list, Dwarner Sanchez, man. I mean, that's before your time, Wardy. Rec, I don't know how much of Dwarner Sanchez you watched, but he was back in 06 when the Mets were a World Series favorite. I mean, he was like one of the best relievers in baseball.
No idea who that is.
Never heard. Really? Really? All right. Well, I know Mets fans in the comments will.
I was in the.
Where were you in 06?
What league was I in? I was in the Midwest League, like hustling at Kane County, trying to get myself up to the big leagues. I didn't give anything as to who was in the big leagues outside of in Oakland, because that's where I thought I was going to be. So
right. Well, Sanchez was one of the best relievers in baseball in 06. Got into a taxi cab accident in, like, I want to say August or September. Missed the whole postseason, and the bullpen kind of fell apart in the postseason. But he was number 50. Who did you catch that wore number 50? Did you catch Scott Atchison?
Yes.
What was his fastball? Like 87, 88?
I mean, he could pump in like a 93, 94 every once in a while.
Could he? I feel like he threw slow.
No.
He was like thick, right? With a couple C's.
I mean, he had like that weird, like, skinny leg, skinny arm, like belly body. Like, I don't know what that's called. It's like a weird, I don't know. But he could throw, man. Like, I love catching him. Little cut piece, get it on lefties. Little breaking ball. No, yeah, he was all right.
And then Rafi Montero, the other number 50 that you caught.
Rafael Montero.
The Montero. The
caught
one
his
that
debut.
got away.
Oh, you started that Subway Series debut, huh?
Well, it was a doubleheader. And I believe I caught, wasn't it a doubleheader, I think?
I thought it was
no,
week
it wasn't
against
a doubleheader.
Tanaka.
It was
right?
It was Jake threw the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Centeno caught him, and then I caught Montero.
And I was at that game. I was at Montero's debut against Tanaka. That's how I recalled so vividly. It was like a Wednesday night or something.
That was the game against Tanaka where I struck out, I think, my first 2 at-bats, and I went up my third at-bat, and I told Dave Hudgens, our hitting coach, I said, hey, Dave, I'm just not going to swing because this guy's going to walk me. Like, he doesn't throw any strike. Like, that split, he's nasty. Like, if he gets me, he's just going to keep throwing that. He doesn't throw anything in the zone. I was chasing my first 2 at-bats. I'm just going to I'm not swinging. Not going to swing. I went up there. First pitch, fastball, kind of middle away, elevated. Last second, I went, swing! Ground ball to second base or something. Got in the dugout. Hudge is just looking at me like,
how'd that work out for you, bud?
I was like, I don't know, man. I panicked. I saw a pitch that I could hit, and I panicked last second.
Was that the game that ended with the 3 straight doubles and they walked off Mariano, his last game at Citi Field? Was that the game?
Oh, man.
I'm trying to think.
I think we lost that game. I think it was the next night. I could be wrong.
Okay, or maybe it was a
I could
different
be
year
wrong.
altogether. I was at a game. It was like Murphy, David Wright, Duda, all went like back to back to back.
No.
off
I
Mariano.
remember that. That might have been no. That
Was
would
that
have
a
been
year earlier?
That might have been 13. I think that was 13.
It was because it was when the All-Star game was at Citi Field.
Yep.
Okay. I hated that
Yeah,
when it used to be week night Yankee games. That was
the only jersey I ever got in my career. I asked for a Mariano Rivera signed jersey.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, you can like as a player, like you could just send over like a request to the other side. It's not a big deal. I literally never did it. And Andrew Brown was like, "Oh, hey, I'm sending over I'm trying to get Mariano's jersey signed." And I never did. I literally never did it. And I was like, he's like, "You want to get one?" I was like, "With me?" I was like, "Sure." Like, why not? Like, it's just not my thing. Like, I'm not like a memorabilia guy. And sure enough, get back in the clubhouse after the game, and there's a signed Mariano Rivera jersey in my locker, and I have it upstairs.
That's pretty wild. Andrew Brown, that's a blast from the past. He had pop.
He had some pop. I honestly, I thought he could hit. He just never really got a shot.
Wardy, do you remember Andrew Brown?
No clue. Not a damn clue, if I'm being honest with you.
Was it left field, first base type guy?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
Left
So,
field, first base.
Speaking of
Wardy's
memorabilia,
like, so Team Nicaragua.
No. Speaking of memorabilia, Rec, I got to get a signed jersey of you to put on the wall behind me. I mean, that needs to happen. So that I have a signed jersey that's out of the frame right now. It's dual signed by both Mookie Wilson and Buckner. That's
So
like
why do you want my jersey?
What's that?
You got Piazza behind you. You got Mookie Wilson and Buckner. Like, what do you want my jersey?
I have to have you on the greats because you are one, Rec. Come on. Let's be serious here for a second. All right, let's get in this conversation.
Whoa.
Hey.
Let's keep this rated.
A little bit of that going on, just a little bit.
It took you so long.
A little bit of that going on.
This is my other piece of memorabilia that I enjoy.
What is that? What's that design?
So every game. Oh no.
For the
Is that
audio
a pass ball in the book?
Rec
Is that another
is
pass
trying
ball?
to show a specific baseball, but he just dropped it. So there's that.
I just dropped it. Dropped the ball. So every game that Bartolo Colon won, he would sit in his locker with the game ball, and he would make like a little like out of it. Okay. We won like 9 in a row together or something stupid in 15. And I noticed like he'd been doing this, and I'm like, Barty, what are you doing, man? He's like, oh, my wins. Like I make a ball. It's like, that's sick. What about for your catcher? Can your catcher get one? So he made me a ball. May 25, 2015, 6-3, Mets over the Phillies.
Did he like color code that
Record,
entire thing himself?
This is over the Philly. He beat the Phillies, so it's red, blue. There's a little bit of silver in there too, because I think we were on the road. Gray.
That's cool.
He did this every win.
Wow.
He probably has 200 and how many wins did he have? 211, 240. I don't remember. He probably has 200 and some of these in his house somewhere. Like,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
It's crazy. Like this is probably like the one thing
but that's cool, and that's not like you could go buy.
Nobody else has one of these. Nobody else has one of these.
Yeah,
that's pretty.
Nobody.
That is really cool. It's coming from Big Sexy himself too. I mean, enjoy that.
Wardy, you had a comment up there, didn't you?
Yeah, I did have a comment. Shock in the live stream. I hear the Mets are going to retire Recker's number. Whew.
Liar.
Oh man, I like S-Man's comment. E2 when Rec dropped the ball.
Yeah, that was funny. That's funny shit. All
so
right.
Rec, just because you brought up Bartolo, man, I mean, he was like he was a sick, rare beast, because this is a guy who obviously when he was with the Angels winning Cy Youngs like 2005, he was pumping the gun like 98. Later in his career, totally changed his game. Was throwing 86, 87, I remember, but just could make that ball dance and move. How much break and how many different variations of a fastball did he have? Because it seemed like he could make it cut, dive, tail, like at will.
Well, what's crazy is there were some days and it probably, you know, it was never publicized or like never talked about. There were days where he felt good at the end of his career, like when, you know, 15 with the Mets, and you know, I don't know about after that. I know 16 I was with him or 17 I was with him in Atlanta, where like he felt good and suddenly he just pumped like a couple 93s and 94s in there, and you're like, whoa, like where did this come from?
Right.
But back to your question. The fastball, what was really fun for me, and the reason he loved throwing to me, was I never cared what he threw, like which fastball he threw. I would just put down a 1 and let him do whatever he wanted. So it was I'd go in or out, and he could throw a 2-seam, and that thing had some movement on it. He could throw a 4-seam. I mean, I typically kind of knew, you know, what he was going for. Or you throw a cutter sometimes. And I would give him full reign, like whatever. I don't even care. Like just throw whatever. And it was fun. I mean, there were days I can remember, especially at Citi Field, early in the year, late in the year when it's windy.
That wind. Yeah.
The wind blows out to the pitcher, but in from the outfield. It's weird. But blowing out to the pitcher, it makes the ball move even more. And I can remember there was a day against the Cardinals. I want to say it was 14. And he was throwing sinkers into lefties. Dudes were bailing out of the way, and these things were coming back middle away. I mean, it was insane. That's how much movement he would get on that sinker. And then like he'd throw that 4-seam up and in on him, little cut piece on him. It was fun, man. It was, you know, it's literally 3 different pitches, all with just this. Like that's all I'd put down, you know, and he would decide wherever he wanted to go with it or however he wanted to throw it. What the heck?
I mean, he didn't really have like much. I think he had a little slider. Correct me if I'm wrong. It's been, I mean, 8
slider
years.
And a changeup. Didn't throw it that often.
No curve. And yeah, didn't use that stuff. That it was just.
I typically had to call those. Like I had to kind of make him throw them sometimes.
Right.
Which was good. Like I got a guy like Freddie Freeman, and I would go change up first pitch every time because Freddie knew this guy throws. Freddie's very, very intelligent hitter. One of the, you know, most intelligent in the game. One of the best hitters in the game, obviously. Yeah. He knows the dude throws 90% fastballs. So he sees that rotation out of the hand. He doesn't even think change up. And I could get him to roll over a lot of the time, like first pitch, or at least give me like a quick foul ball or something. That was always fun with Bartolo, like messing with guys who knew that Barty was throwing fastballs, but just throw something else in there. Like you could throw his slider was awful. Like it was it was a cement mixer. It just but like when you're just sitting fastball, and then all of a sudden this terrible slider comes in, guys would kind of balk at it. Like, yeah, I don't even know if they like. I don't know how many times people swung at his slider. I would imagine it wasn't very often. But Barty didn't like to throw it.
When you have that much movement, though, I mean, it really comes down to can you change speeds, can you change eye levels, and then you get away with a bad slider.
Which he did. He was awesome. He was so much fun to catch. It made me worse as a catcher because I'd forget how to call a game for like the other guys. Right. It was literally just like I didn't have to think back there. No thought process at all. Yeah. Just one.
Then the next day you got John Neese yelling at you on the mound. I wanted this fucking thing wreck, right?
If Neese ever yelled at me, I'd have slapped him. No.
You know, I don't know about you guys, but aside from Bartolo's iconic home run against Shields in San Diego, my favorite moment of him was the no-look backflip he did at first, you know, in Miami. that one, like, just I remember like it was yesterday.
That was awesome.
That was
one of the sickest plays I've ever seen.
Yeah. And like, just so nonchalant too. That was
but
the
he
beauty
did that every day. He did that stuff every day at practice, like you know, messing around like spring training, or if we were taking PFPs throughout the year, like he did that stuff all the time. So when he did it, it wasn't the first time we saw him do that. It was like, oh my God, he just did it in a game.
Yeah.
Like, we know Barty was like a
was it Bohr
super
that grounded
athlete.
out there too?
What's that?
Was it Justin Bohr, the one that grounded out there?
That makes sense. It makes sense.
It might have been
I don't know. I don't remember.
It definitely wasn't.
It was in Miami.
Gordon. Yeah.
Bart gave up the homer to D. Gordon, right? Right after
correct.
Jose Fernandez.
Yep.
Who did, Barty?
Yep.
You weren't on that team, right, Rick? That was 2016.
No, I was with the Braves. I was in town when Fernandez.
Yeah, that was
died.
Goring off.
We played the night before, and then we were supposed to have a day game in Miami, and that's when I found out that morning.
Right. Because I was going to ask you the question. I feel like everyone kind of has wondered, but you weren't on the team, so I don't know if you would know this. But do you think that was grooved to Gordon, given the moment and everything?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Just seems like no home runs.
I'm gonna say no. But even if it was, like, how many homers do you got in his career? Like, how easy is it to hit a homer, even if they tell you it's coming? Like,
that's true. I mean, he's got like
pretty cool, man,
in his career.
I don't know. Probably. It's pretty cool though. Like, that was one of the coolest moments I remember seeing on a baseball field.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was I just want to go into like that moment now when, just finding out. That was nuts. That was the worst like feeling in the world.
Yeah, I mean, just from a fan perspective, it was gut wrenching because I watched Fernandez again. This was really the start of my like day-to-day diehard Mets fandom, around that time, and I was looking at him battling with Syndergaard. I'm like, oh my god, this is going to be what it's like for the next decade in this division. Like, it's thrilling. Like, I love matchups like that. Even if it's against a rival, yes, it sucks, but like, you have respect for the player. That's exactly how I felt for him. So yeah, the entire thing is obviously it was going to be tragic, kind of like what could have been when looking at that Marlins team, especially because they were dismantled right after, unfortunately. But I did want to make a note to you guys, speaking of that no-hitter to start the game, that as we're recording, it was broken up by none other than, yes, Ronnie Mauricio, who's now 7 for 16 this spring. Definitely been a show out. I know that you guys really viewing highly of him, as am I. I obviously have a favoritism towards Beatty if we had to pick between the two. Like, God forbid if someone needs to get traded or something, but no less loving what Mauricio is doing. So that's, at least they broke up the no-hitter. I mean, against Team Nicaragua, you have to at some point. But I did want to talk with you guys, though, about spring, what's been going on, because there has been a hit to this Mets rotation. We don't know exactly for how long, but Jose Quintana exited game a couple days ago after pitching a scoreless inning. One inning pitch, a strikeout, not a problem. Has himself a stress fracture in his right rib on his left side. So now he's getting further imaging done. We haven't heard the results of that yet, but just a quick Google search will tell you that this could have the guy out easily a couple months at minimum. So Rex, starting with you, what is your reaction to Quintana's injury here? And should it be that timeline of at least a couple months here? How are you looking at the rotation? Do you have a favoritism between Peterson, McGill? Do you think they should just strictly battle it out? Is Peterson the favorite? Like, let me know what your thoughts are.
I haven't even heard the latest on Peterson's foot. What's the latest on his foot?
He is day to day. So no Mets fan should be worried. Nothing broken, thankfully, from the comebacker he dealt with a couple days ago when he was pitching.
Look, you go into a spring training knowing you're not going to leave with the starting five that you came in with. It's almost a given. Like, that's why the Mets came in with 7 this year, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, Peterson, McGill, they're going to AAA. No, they're not. Like, one of them's going to the big leagues because someone's going to get hurt. It's just the way this stuff works. I don't know if those couple of months is true for Quintana or not. We'll find out. But realistically, I think I really like the fact that, Peterson built off of his 21 with last year. To say that his ceiling is higher than McGill's would be a lie in my mind. But that said, the dude's been more available, which makes him, I think, more plausible to throw in to start the season. I would love to see McGill have the opportunity to go to AAA and make some starts and really just get back into the groove and feel more comfortable. Because obviously he came back at the end of the year last year, but that was in a relief role and it's just kind of different. Almost felt like he was rushed back. So would love to see him just continue to kind of work on his stuff, go to AAA, and then join the team. That said, look, there's every opportunity and possibility that somebody else gets hurt before the season starts. And that's what's scary. Like, that's why you have to have this many guys. That's why you can't just up and trade some. I remember, I think it was 2014. We were going into the regular season. during where we were in spring training. And I remember there were just rumors swirling like, oh, the Mets have 6 starters. Who are they going to trade? Who are they going to trade? Why? Why are we trading a starter? Like someone's getting hurt. What are we even talking about here? Yeah. I think it was either G or Nice at the time. It was like, which one's getting traded? For what? Like, I was dumbfounded.
Nice always had rumors.
Nice, yeah, 100%. I mean, he signed that 5-year deal early, and then it was like, this guy's cost control, 5 years, $25 million. Like, he's expendable essentially. But he ended up being kind of an innings eater, and had a nice career for the Mets.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things that I never understand, why people get so worked up about trying to find and fit spots and, early in spring training, because this stuff works itself out, and it already is. I mean, that's the way things happen. I mean, that's why you can't go trading Cookie Carrasco in the offseason and saying, oh yeah, like, let's trade him. We got a surplus of starters. No, you don't, because who do you got after McGill?
Eliza Hernandez. that's
Hernandez. Our boy Dom ain't ready yet. I mean, he's pitching for Team Puerto Rico right now.
Shout at him as well. We're going to get into that discussion soon, but he was pitching against Boston today, their exhibition game for Team Puerto Rico. So
I didn't know he pitched today. I knew he was pitching for Puerto Rico.
Yeah. I don't know exactly how his outing went, but I did see him on the bump and Lindor giving him the pep talk that Lindor usually does with every pitcher that he interacts with.
Let's find out.
Yeah, so like Dom will be here, but he's not going to be here anytime soon. Matt Allen this is shaping up to potentially be kind of a sad story. You're seeing setback after setback with Matt Allen. Isn't he out for the whole season again?
Hamill went 1 inning, 1 hit, 1 run, 1 walk, 1 K.
That's all right, a little tune-up. I think he's their number 3 or number 4 starter.
He's going to be starting the day before I'm seeing Team Venezuela versus Puerto Rico. It's Saturday night in Miami.
Is Eddie on Venezuela?
Oh, Sunday night. I'm sorry. Is Eddie available?
No, is he on Venezuela? Eddie?
Yeah. So I'm hoping he starts. So that way I can. If I doubt Narvaez is going to start that game, but if Narvaez starts over Salvi too, that'd be cool. Just see like all the Mets incorporated in that game.
Oh, I forgot Narvaez too. So we have 2 guys on Venezuela, and then Lindor, Diaz, and Dom on Puerto Rico.
Yes. Yeah. And again,
and a former Met watch, Javi Baez.
Dude, Almago was electric when he was a Met. I don't care what anyone says.
2 months.
He was the best 2 months of his career. I mean, statistically.
He was actually pretty good.
Dude, he was north of 400 OBP. The guy, yes, he had the thumbs down.
That didn't make any sense that year, though, because that team wasn't good.
No.
It was obvious.
The move didn't make any sense. It was a desperate move.
And now Pete Crow Armstrong is just balling for the Cubs right now.
And we have no outfield depth outside of Alex Ramirez, who looks amazing, but is like 2 years away at least.
And wasn't he technically a shortstop anyway? Like
Ramirez?
I thought he was a shortstop early on.
Maybe early on. That I'm not aware of.
I know he's a center fielder now, was last year. I don't know what he was. The Mets always have like 8 trillion shortstops.
I thought he was originally a shortstop.
Huh. No, that I don't know. I'd have to look up. But it would make sense. We always have too many shortstops and not enough anything else.
So before we get into the whole WBC talk, because I really just want to have us break down entirely what we think and predictions, I did want to mention 2 other pitchers. Okay, one starts with Max Scherzer. He had 3 innings today, 2 earned runs, 9 strikeouts, which was nice. But that's not why I'm bringing him up. Last time he started last week, there were a lot of eyes on him because he's of course gained acclimated with the pitch clock. And he did something really interesting. He had 2 pitch clock violations in the same inning, which led to 8 unearned runs because Luis Guillorme somehow, someway had 2 errors in the same inning, something you'll never see aside from spring training. But his first pitch clock violation was by quick pitching. And this is where after the game, he was kind of bothered by it, still didn't understand it. And then MLB actually came out with a statement for every team going forward that this will be the case. So he's really just stretching the limits here. He held his stance the entire time as the batter asked for time. So the batter got himself time. And then right before the batter locked eyes with Scherzer again, Max was in the wind-up for his pitch, and then he was called for a quick pitch. So there's been some confusion a little bit on that front with how much, time is there because he was emphasizing post game that, once it hits 0-0, am I going to have that kind of extra second that you see sometimes in basketball or not? That's something that needed to be cleared up. But I really like the fact that Max is, again, experimenting here because now's the time to do it versus the regular season. And everyone expects him, especially, to thrive with the pitch clock. So, Joe, starting with you, what's your takeaway from Max and kind of, again, making the most of the new rule right away, seeing what's going to work and what's not going to work for the season? But more than anything, just the fact that Max is basically one of the better pitchers out there to be utilizing this type of thing. It's definitely in his favor far more than it is like a Chris Bassett, if you will.
Right. It's 100% in Max's favor. And I like the fact that, I don't care about the box. It's spring training. I've said this probably too many times. Rex said, who cares? It's spring training.
Oh, yeah.
Max is not fighting for a roster spot. So I like that he's testing the boundaries. And I don't care if he's getting called for 3 balks in a game, because test those boundaries. This way, when April rolls around, you know what you can and you can't get away with. I think that the rules are really unclear, surrounding what was going on with the quick pitch rule. And it's like, well, if the batter has to be ready at 12 seconds or 8 seconds, depending on runners on or not, why can't I throw the pitch at that point? Right? There's just a lot of vagueness that needs to be clarified. But for now, this is the time to test those rules. We talked about it, I think, last show, how, spring training, the guys who have solidified roster spots, specifically pitchers, this is when they kind of mess around a little bit and work on stuff, especially the first half of spring training. So work on it, test the boundaries. And this way in April, you know what you can and can't get away with, because Max he's going to use this to his advantage. Anything, the slightest thing he can get away with, he's going to. So yeah, I think he'll figure it out. And then as far as today's concerned, 9 strikeouts, 3 innings, just more of the same with Max Scherzer.
Rec, before I get to you, just want to give a quick shout out to everyone in the live stream right now. Continue smash that like and subscribe on, means a lot. But also shout out, because I do believe that is the Joe that I know, Joe DeMayo in the chat right now. Shout out to him for SNY. Says Ramirez was always a center fielder. So there's your answer. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Also shout out to you, Joe. We'll have to do a collab pod with a Mets pod at some point. Him and Connor do a great job. So that would be awesome. Hopefully we get that done at some point. But now, Rec, any further thoughts here on Scherzer and the pitch clock?
Yeah, look, the batter had always had to address the pitcher before the pitcher could throw a pitch for safety reasons. That's always been a rule. That's not something that's new. That's not something that's pitch clock related. That's always been part of the rule set. Obviously Scherzer tried to push it because of the pitch clock, but realistically, that's nothing new. You can't throw a pitch without the batter looking, for obvious reasons. Like, something gets out of your hand, batter's not looking, and it smokes him in the face. We saw that happen to Turner the other day.
Thankfully, he's okay.
Cool.
No broken bones there, apparently, which is awesome.
Correct.
16
Justin
pitches,
Turner is going to be okay. Yep. Yeah. But yeah, no. So to me, this is just, trying to push the limit, seeing what the rules are, pointing out any flaws, whatever. Like, just Max being Max, kind of. And I'll tell you what, I think the pitch clock, it's already, like, some of the stink about it is already starting to die down. I do feel like there are some things that are going to come up throughout the course of the season that already are bothering me. Andrew McCutchen got like a big standing ovation and got a strike called on him because he didn't get in the box in time.
You're
Pirates
bullshit. Yeah, it's stuff like that needs to get cleaned
Can you
up.
imagine when Miguel Cabrera takes his last at bat this year?
It's going to start off
and the Detroit fans are standing clapping for him because he's been and done so much for that organization over the years, and they call a strike on him. Like, there's not supposed to be any exception to the rule. Obviously, I hope people use their common sense in situations like that and it doesn't become a thing. But McCutchen steps up to the plate, standing ovation. Then I saw one, I think it was Blue Jays. Was it Blue Jays Red Sox? It's Blue Jays somebody. I know it was a Blue Jays hitter. Waiting for the umpire to get balls because a ball boy came out, gave him some balls. Umpire went and got the balls, came walking back. The umpire wasn't set. Batter stepped in and looked up, literally looked up at 7.5. Like, it was turning from 8 to 7. Umpire goes, he gets the buzz, like calls a strike on him. Guy, you weren't ready. Why does the hitter need to be ready? that stuff's not that can't happen. I'm sorry. I get it. Like the hitter's supposed to be ready, but what if the hitter did look up at 9 or 10 and the pitcher was ready and the umpire's still getting balls? What happens then? Like, we're just supposed to wait around for you now? That's not how it works. So there's still obviously going to be things that need to be adjusted and fixed. It's common sense, but for whatever reason right now, MLB has said, like, the rules are the rules. We're going to institute the rules as they're written, period, point blank. That's it. And so the umpires are having to, and it just looks bad on the field. Hopefully that all gets situated, gets played out before the regular season, because that's like just annoying.
Yeah, you can't have the freaking ball boy on the field at 9 seconds to go and then expect that everyone's going to pitch and be ready to hit.
He needs to wait. He needs to wait. If the umpire didn't have balls, wait. The pitcher has one. Wait.
Right.
If we need a ball, then you can come out and then we can hold off the clock because the pitcher hasn't received the ball back yet.
Yeah.
It just common sense just eludes people sometimes, and it's amazing. You would think that these rules would not be difficult to implement, and that's all. Outside of that, I really don't care about the rule. It is what it is, and it's going to be. I wish it wasn't the case, but I realize that it is in some ways necessary. So that's it. Period.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're right, especially throughout the season. Hopefully they have this cleaned up. I know that there's going to be some instances, hopefully they're few and far in between, where something causes, like controversy, if you will, something along those lines, and then it kind of defeats the purpose of the pitch clock, or the batter having the clock to go in, or they have a pause. Maybe they have to pause things entirely for a certain period of time. So it's definitely going to be interesting to follow. But yeah, no, great points there. Now the last pitcher that I want to bring up to you guys, because he made his first unofficial Mets debut, is Kodai Senga. I don't know if you guys saw exactly how he did, but yeah, 2 innings pitch on 1 earned run, which was a solo bomb, not a prom, and he looked really sharp. I mean, he walked the first 2 batters he faced, and then he went on to get a pop fly out from Paul Goldschmidt, a fly out then from Arenado, and a nasty strikeout with the ghost fork on the Cardinals' top prospect, who I don't know why I'm blanking on his name right now.
Jordan Walker.
Jordan Walker has been killing it to start spring up until that game, really. So raw reactions from Kodai Senga. He's touching 99 on the gun already. He said post game that he had some jitters heading into it, and the pitch clock had him on his toes, where he wasn't able to appreciate the batters as much as he wanted to, because he was obviously really excited to face the Goldschmidts, the Arenados of the world, but just had to be quick with it because of that reason, which went in hand with the lack of command to start. But he was pretty much exactly what you'd expect, even in a small sample size. He's always had the electric velo, the nasty ghost fork as well to get the strikeouts. But more than anything, he has struggled with his command at times. So he kind of exemplified everything that you can expect from his game in his first outing. So starting off with you, Rec, how did you feel about Kodai and his little Mets debut?
Great. I mean, you expect him to have some jitters. He got him out of the way. I expect him to have more at the beginning of the season. But realistically, dude made adjustments. He made them fast, and his stuff played. Period. End of story. That's all I need to know. That this guy can make the adjustments. I know he has the stuff. That's not in question at all. I think that was the most obvious thing, was that this guy's stuff, it's not just going to play. It's really good. Yeah. I feel really good about, I know we did like a hope, or what do we call, like a projection almost of what we think this guy can, do this year, what we think he will do. Right. I feel as good as I possibly could about mine, which was 2.7, 2.8, I said, I think.
2.8. Yeah. I think I said 3.4.
2.7, 2.8. Yeah. I feel really good about that right now. If only because I don't care if he goes out and gives up a few runs early in the season. I know he's going to make if he made the adjustments that quickly in a 2-inning outing, I know he's going to make them over the course of a season. And I know that hitters are going to have a really tough time when he's actually in mid-season form and he's locked in, and the Mets are going to keep him fresh. They're not going to let him go out there every 5th day for 32 times on the year.
That's in part why they're going to do the 6th man this year. It's for
100% at times, right? Yep. They're going to present they're going to insert someone when they can. Mm-hmm. They have to have 6 or 7 healthy guys to do it.
True.
So they shouldn't.
All that said,
now?
No, they shouldn't trade Cookie. No. Who would have thought Cookie actually is going to be, I'd imagine, a very underrated fifth
What do you mean?
starter.
Who would have thought? I think we all knew this when the Mets had like
We
two
all
starting
knew.
pitchers
No,
coming into the
I know.
offseason.
I know. I'm saying for like the endless talks that went on throughout the offseason, because there were some people that were under the belief that the Mets just wanted, throw Cookie to the curb for like, a bag of baseballs. I'm like, that wasn't going to. It was only going to be if it was the right opportunity, or if they were even potentially getting a younger, controllable arm back that has higher upside. Like, it was pretty much going to be a pitcher for a pitcher if it was going to happen. So I'm glad that it didn't, because again, the Mets need this depth as much as ever, and I do think that Cookie again is going to give you those innings that you need at the end of the day. He doesn't need to be the ace in the rotation; literally just needs to be the number 5, and that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and your number 5, by the way, won like 15 games last year. So
yeah, wasn't that bizarre? Wasn't he the Mets leader in wins last year?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And his ERA was like 4th or 5th on the team.
Goes to show you just how important wins are. I mean, we know that debate though with DeGrom by now. But Joe, what's your thoughts on Kodai Senga? Again, electric velo. It's always nice to see.
Yeah, it looked great. To me, it's like I think a lot of people were concerned about the ball being slightly different over in Japan than it is here. And so, will a velo touch the same way? Will it be able to dance on that ghost fork the same way? The answer was yes, 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 and yes. And Rec, because we were talking about Bartolo before, and that wind in April and October at Citi Field. I mean, I'm just dying to see what the hell it does to that ghost fork.
Good luck.
Oh my God, you get that Flushing.
That's a great
drink,
point.
by the way.
Wow.
Why does Citi Field not sell a drink called the Flushing Bay Breeze? Because you got
what's going to be
right
interesting is the scoreboard and how that plays with the wind. I have a feeling that part of the reason they did that was to eliminate the breeze coming in from the outfield. I think it should still, if you get it to come in through the hole in right field around the stands, it should still go out to the pitcher from home plate. I'm this is me
like that Coke corner, the way it whips up there, yeah.
But I don't know if that giant scoreboard is going to affect the way the wind swirls in that stadium. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out throughout the course of the year. Like, Citi Field could suddenly become like a home run mecca. Like, if the wind isn't coming in from the outfield anymore, and now it's just kind of blowing out towards the pitcher, like, stuff's still going to be nasty. So it's going to be hard to square things up, which is what makes Citi Field hard. But the problem with Citi Field was that sometimes when you squared stuff up, it didn't go anywhere. And that, as a hitter, was like deflating. And then you'd get up there your next day and swing harder, like without trying to. You just would, like, naturally. And so that's what made Citi Field difficult. And so now, if that's going to be different, this ballpark could play very, very different. Like, we could see numbers we've never seen before. I'm really excited to see how that works out.
I mean, it's interesting because we talk about it, and obviously the dimensions were different. When Citi Field was built, it was built for Jose Reyes. 415 to right center. It was triples alley. And David Wright went from 2008, the last year at Shea, to 2009. He went from like 30 home runs to 10 when the Mets moved into Citi Field.
Well, it was a nod to Ebbets, wasn't it?
Yes.
I mean, a lot of it is, especially the exterior, like that whole Jackie Robinson rotunda with the brick and everything is a nod to Ebbets.
Yeah.
I don't know if the dimensions were.
I know that they were. I mean, it wasn't the exact dimensions because I think Ebbets was like 470. It was silly.
Straightaway center was 500 and all those old parts.
It was silly. Or maybe it was at Polo Grounds. Is that what I'm thinking of?
Polo was 500. But no, Citi Field is architecturally built as like a tribute to Ebbets. But that right center field gap was 415 for Jose Reyes, who was going to be a free agent like the year after, or a couple of years after the Mets moved into Citi Field. Reyes, of course, went to Miami, and they were like, F this, bring the fences in. We don't have anyone else. Angel Pagan's not hitting 17 triples this year, guys.
Well, they knew. I mean, you were D. Wright's. Go look at the back of David Wright's baseball card. And then, was it 2009? Was that the first year of Citi Field?
Yeah, he had 10 home runs.
It's insane. The dude was like 30, 30, 30, 30, 10.
Right.
Like, what?
Yeah. It was like 3120, 3110, 3120, 1072. If anyone wants to stat check me on that, I think 10 and 72 in 09 were his home run RBI numbers. But the other question I had, Rec, is you've talked about it, I think, day games at Citi Field, that the visibility is kind of bad.
Yeah.
So do you think the bigger scoreboard will help with that and assist the hitters in that respect?
No, that's all about the paint that they had, or something about the backdrop. Like, that batter's eye, that black, like, where the apple is, but it's obviously sitting down. Something to do with that, man. I don't know what it was. I don't think the new scoreboard is going to help with that. I don't know if the scoreboard is lower at all. And obviously it's bigger. I don't know if it
the dimensions
increased in
of the
size.
scoreboard haven't changed, in the sense of where the ads
video
usually
board,
are.
the video board itself, right?
The video board fills up exactly.
So is it just wider? Because if it's actually lower at all, like as a catcher, I can tell you playing at certain stadiums like Turner Field, where they have the scoreboard, like that Giant Stadium, what AT&T, what is it called now? I don't even know what it's called anymore. Oracle, thank you.
Yep. Same as where Golden State plays, right? They're both Oracle.
Is maybe?
Yeah,
I don't even know.
Yeah,
it didn't used to be, but maybe it is now. Well, no, Golden State moved now. They're not next to them anymore. They're actually in downtown now or something. Anyway,
I think that's Oracle. But I'm sorry, continue.
They no, it's all right. So anywhere where the scoreboard is in dead center, if it wasn't high enough, like at Citi Field, it was okay. I never had a problem with it there. But if it wasn't high enough, you'd get like a high fastball, like when you're not ready for it, that would go into the scoreboard, and you're like,
oh,
it was impossible. Like you were just stabbing at the ball, like hoping you'd catch it. It's awful.
Well, that's what if you have Angel Hernandez or CB Buckner behind you, you just let them take care of that.
Oh gosh, that whole thing with Ali Marmol,
dude, that's insane. Like the Cardinals have a legit petition, on their hands to tell the MLB CB Buckner cannot work our games. There's a legit case.
It's crazy.
There's a few umpires like that on, that have some issues with a few teams, or some guys who have it with the entire league. But
I think I've told this story on the show before. I don't know if it was on air or off. I told you guys about the time Jim Joyce told me to go fuck myself, right?
Yes.
Yes.
I think you said that on air too. Yeah. So the OG listeners should know.
4th of July against the Rangers years back. Happy 4th, Jim.
What'd you say to him?
I asked him how Galarraga was doing.
Yeah. Do you know how bad he felt about that?
Yeah, we did discuss this because you
literally yeah. Because I remember seeing him the next spring, and he was still upset about it. Like the dude's career ended because he couldn't umpire anymore. Like he just kept thinking about that. Got sent down to AAA.
Because it's like Galarraga's career ended too. Like that guy had a terrible career.
He was garbage.
I know, and that was the one thing he could have.
I don't know how he threw a perfect game. Like
how does DeGrom not have one?
I guess honestly, I saw him. It was a few years after that I saw him that he threw against us in AAA. Like he was awful. Like the fact that he got to the big leagues was a shock to me. By the time I had faced him, was he a shell of himself? Was he a different guy? Maybe I don't know. Like I wouldn't know. I didn't face him when he was throwing a perfect game. But he was like 88, 89 sinker cutter, like garbage right-handed AAA starter.
Yeah, like
they used to call him your average white righty because that's like what you would see in the big, like in AAA, some like schmuck who just couldn't make it, like wasn't good, and just was still just kind of hanging on to his career, throwing 88 and just trying to manipulate the baseball, but was just awful. And that's what he would look. That's what he was. Like I'm not trying to crap on him, but it just wasn't good. And I can't, I don't know. I'd have to go back and watch the video and see how good he was, because I wasn't watching that game. I just found out about it later, obviously, like everybody else, when you could tell the runner was out at first and he was called safe.
That was so. I mean, I just remember Miguel Cabrera standing there, dude. It was like he was out by 2 steps.
Galarraga thought he was messing with him. He smiled. He laughed. He's like, "Oh, you're messing with me, right, man? Like you're just joking. That's funny."
I just watched that highlight again, a couple months ago, and I was just standing. I was sitting there in awe, like everyone else was. I'm sure at the time. How
many perfect games have there been? 23, I think.
Maybe.
It's so few
in the history a decade of the game.
When's the last one? 2012, Matt Cain.
Ooh, I don't know.
Maybe
perfect game. I don't know. It's been a minute. I mean, or was
friend of the show, Dallas Braden? He threw number 21, I think.
Friend of the show.
Did King Felix throw a perfect game or just a no hitter?
No, perfect game. It's either Felix or Matt Cain. I want to say is the most recent. By the way, I don't know if it was I think it was a perfect game. Philip Humber. Speaking of garbage pitchers,
Phil Humber, I Bleav that was it. He was number 19, I think. If I'm pulling these numbers out of somewhere, I don't know where, but like they're coming to me as we're talking about it.
Right out of your ass. Let's take a look. MLB perfect games.
And after this, we'll get to our last segment on the WBC because
Humber was 19.
Thank you.
Was DB
21?
What?
Was Braden 21?
No, Braden was 17. So there's been 21.
He was before. Oh, there's been 21. That's why I had that in my head. Okay.
Yeah. Right. Philip Humber was 19. Matt Cain, June 2012. So I got the year right.
Mm-hmm.
Felix was August 2012. So there hasn't been one since 2012.
That's crazy.
And there were 2 that year.
3. Philip Humber was April.
Oh my goodness.
That's 1-7.
Oh, I actually remember that. I do remember that. It was like what's in the water, because wasn't that the year that didn't when did didn't Holiday throw like a no-hitter in the playoffs that year? Was that 2012? Or am I thinking was that the year before?
I don't know when his playoff no was. The perfect game. Holiday had a perfect game.
Yeah, he did.
The regular season.
That was in like 07 though, I thought.
That was 2010. Oh my God, him and Dallas Braden both May 2010.
Yeah, DB was DB was DB Mother's Day. Yeah, because that was a big
on the same day.
No, same month.
No.
Oh, I was about to say. I'm like, what are the odds?
There's been 21 in the history of the game. You had 2 in the same month in 2010 and 3 in the same season.
At this point, you're talking 150 years, basically, right? Like 1886, I think, is technically the first year they consider.
Yeah, and 5 of them were in a 3-season span. That's nuts. 2010, 2012.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, let's get into WBC talk so that way we can be on our
perfect games. Like, come on.
Yeah.
T?
What do you mean, T? What else is there to say?
You are just unbelievable.
He's Tyler didn't even watch. Tyler, there has not been a perfect game since Tyler.
There isn't even born yet, okay? He wasn't even born yet in 2010.
There has not been a perfect game since Tyler started watching baseball.
Consistently, that's true. I did watch in 2012, but I wasn't like a, diehard watching every single day.
What happened June 1st, 2012?
I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head.
Even I know that.
I'm being serious. I'm not good with dates.
Rec, what happened June 1st, 2012?
No, I can't. I'm gonna smack him.
Grant, I'm
go Will Smith on me.
24,
please.
Grant, for the question in the comments. I was born in 98.
Oh, see, I'm sorry I didn't know the exact date. I apologize.
Dude, you gotta. There's been one no-hitter.
We're on a Mets pod.
I get that, but I was also a casual 12-year-old. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's crazy. That game. I was at that game, right? And I went alone that night. It was a Friday night. There was like a bar mitzvah going on. I was in 8th grade, and I didn't like the kid who was having the bar mitzvah. I didn't get invited, and like a bunch of my buddies were all there. I invited like 3 kids. I had 2 tickets to the Met game. Invited like 3 of my buddies. They were all going to this bar mitzvah. And I was like, all right, whatever. I'll go to the game alone. Friday night, Mets Cardinals. I'll go shag some balls in BP. Caught like 2 or 3 that night. I was like, watch the game. Friggin' no-hitter happens. They texted me. They're like, oh, this bar mitzvah sucks. I wish I came. Like, of course the bar mitzvah sucks. Because when you go to Syosset schools, you go to 40 of them, and they're all the same. Let's make some noise for the bar mitzvah, boy.
You expect it to be good? Like, is that really
like... Right, you got to sit there and have them go through all the friggin' candles. And
Joe, how old were you when you were at the game? 13, 14?
Awesome. It was like 3 weeks or 2 weeks before I turned 14.
Okay. Yeah. And the funny thing too is that I remember exactly when it happened. I didn't watch the game live.
Well, apparently you don't remember the day, so
I didn't know. But the funny
Grant goes, "Oh, I thought you were like 35." Well, my girlfriend does too. Don't tell her, Grant.
No, but what's funny is that even though I didn't remember the exact date, I do remember when I was 12 on Facebook finding out about it and then watching the highlights and freaking out. And then I posted the graphic that the Mets social team came out with for the no-hitter right away. And that was like my instant memory of Nohan. So again, I apologize that I didn't know the date. Trust me, this won't be the last time that you're going to want to slap me, Rec. So,
I don't think I was on social media yet at that point.
Yeah, 2012.
I got on. I actually know. I think I got on that off season when I became a Met. I logged. Is when I signed on to Twitter. I think.
Okay.
2012, the only social app I was probably using was Kick. Being like, hey,
Kick.
yo,
Yep.
you up?
What was 100% using
Jordan?
Kick?
I never even heard of that.
That's a good thing, Rick. Kick was not good.
Never heard of that.
Yik Yak. That was a thing in 2012, I think. Yik Yak. Oh,
Like I could go back to MySpace, but that's like I don't know what Kick is. I don't have no idea.
Okay, boomer.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, Kick was a message. That's actually hilarious because my girlfriend, we first like started talking through Kick when we were kids. Yeah, that's how it works.
You up?
Yeah.
That's what Kick was for.
Okay.
Oh man.
All right, guys.
So Joe spent a lot of time on there, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Player had to play the game somewhere back then.
Okay. So we got 4 pools for the WBC. I'm going to ask you guys who you think is going to win from each pool, what team is going to come out of it, and ultimately who you think is going to win it all.
That was a really smooth transition, team.
Oh, thank you. It's about fucking time. All right.
We are live, Max, in the comments. We are live talking about Kick and Yik Yak.
Yes. That's how you know it's a Bleav in Queens podcast.
Yeah, come on, man.
Starting off with Pool A. And by the way, it's funny because last night was the first WBC game, Cuba versus Netherlands in Taiwan. You had Yoenis Cespedes back in action. Wasn't all that effective from what I saw. Netherlands went on to win that game. I think it was 4-2 the final. No less. You got Netherlands, Panama, Italy, Chinese Taipei, and Cuba in Pool A.
Yo, Grant with the ASL. Oh my God. That's a throwback. Rick, do you know what that means?
I don't.
Oh my God. You get a girl's username, ASL? That's so funny.
Can someone fill me in? Someone want to let me know what's going on?
So it's like you start talking to someone in like these chat rooms, right? And then you ask them ASL, age, sex, location, right? So you get their username. You're like, how old are you? Are you a guy or a chick? Because back then you were one or the other. And then where are you? What's your location? Like where you're from? Because like if you're from, if you're 15 miles away, my mom's not dropping me off.
My mom's not dropping. Wait, so was this on like AIM or something? Like what? I don't know what.
It was like after. So like I was using AIM when I was in 5th grade, so I was like 10.
I don't even know what that is.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That's wild.
Listen to this guy. I was on that in college. Yeah, good for you, guy.
Yeah, I was in 5th grade. Like I remember like when I moved to Syosset in 5th grade, like that was people were like, oh, what's your AIM? And I was like, huh? They were like, AIM Messenger. I was like, oh yeah, just give me yours and I'll add you because I didn't have one. I'll never forget the first time I messaged a girl. And I had like my stepbrother in the other room and I'm asking him like every abbreviation. I'm like, Vinny, what does this mean? Like I'd be like, what's up? She'd be like NMJCU. I'd be like, man, what the hell does NMJCU mean? He'd be like, nothing much, just chilling. You?
All I remember is the profiles, and I had like I was like a punk kid, so I had like the emo profile.
I was like that too growing up. That's fucking hilarious.
My username was like literally like hate the Yanks 619.
My username is still my junk email. So when you see my email, and I think you guys have it because when we first met, I didn't know who you were, and I gave you my junk email. That was my AIM username back in the day. Like I just made some stuff up and threw it out there, and I was like, yeah, it works.
All right,
so
a
bunch of letters and numbers.
You guys are gonna get a kick out of this. My username for like everything when I was a kid in middle school, this was my nickname because of the candy bars was Fun Size. So everyone would call me Fun Size Ty. So that was my name for literally everything.
Dude, that is perfect for you.
Now only his girlfriend calls him that.
Exactly. Okay. All right. Can we talk World Baseball Classic for like 5 minutes? Please? Motherfucker.
Oh my God. Man down like Justin Turner over here.
Hey. Take it easy on my boy JT, okay? That's my boy.
Sorry,
all right?
the redheads always catch the strays.
That dude needs to. No, hey, come on.
You're holding back.
Sorry. Yo. It's just how like quick you're with it, Joe. Like it's second nature. It's fucking hilarious. Okay. World Baseball Classic, Pool A, damn it. All right, pick a team, please. Out of the 5.
Give us
Cuba,
the pool.
Chinese Taipei, Italy, Panama, or Netherlands.
Netherlands. But I want to say Italy because Vinny Pasquantino's cool as shit. I was hanging out with him at the Super Bowl. But
Italy's going to surprise some people. Italy's going to surprise some people, but Netherlands is the team to beat.
Okay.
Their infield is so good, the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to
Although
go
no Ozzy Albies, right? Albies
no, but Jonathan Scope's playing second. He could pop a few out against the pitching he's going to face. Come on, that pool, it's a weak pool.
Would you take? Oh, well, it's a very weak pool. But would you take Scope or Albies? I mean, come on.
No, Brain or Albies. I just mean compared to who they're playing, like their line is better than everyone else.
Bogarts is playing short. So there you go.
I think they should flip flop Bogarts and Simmons. By the way, like Simmons is a better shortstop to me.
He is. I mean, actually, no. Last year, Xander was elite defensively at short. He's been weird. He's been finicky. Like throughout his career, not a lot of great seasons, but last year I know he was like 90th plus percentile and outs above average. So lately,
Simmons, I was like platinum glove in the past. Like
yes,
that's the only reason he's a job.
Exactly. Yeah, all defense. So for me, I'm going to go with I got to go with the guy on the wall behind me. I know they're probably not going to win it, but I'm just going to go with Team Italy for the culture. So let's go to Pool B. This is Australia, China, Czech Republic, Japan, Korea. I mean, come on. I feel bad. Like Korea actually has some solid players, but I mean, come on.
Japan's going to win the whole thing.
Ooh.
Oh,
did you guys
Japan
see?
Is incredibly deep. They have a fantastic rotation. Yeah. Their lineup is stacked. They are going to win this whole thing.
They have the best young third base.
This is the best
like
team.
All the sport right now too. Aside from some guys of the MLB, like what's his
and Lars Nootbaar's on the team, isn't he?
Lars Nootbaar is on the team. That is correct.
Did you guys see the video of Czech Republic where they were asking the players that went viral on social media, like what their actual job is?
Yes.
And it was like carpenter, mechanic, teacher, like financial analyst.
Eric Sogard.
Yeah, but I mean, like everyone in that team is like one guy was like literally a financial analyst.
Guys, Eric Sogard is the only one with any like professional baseball experience.
Yeah, it's.
I mean, long time big leaguer.
Can never forget those glasses. All right, Pool C.
Wait, did Sogard was that the guy who went to the finals for Face of MLB against David Wright?
Yep.
I can't believe that joke actually like went that far that people voted for him. Like that's
crazy. Hilarious. Oakland fans were all in on that one.
But there's like 5 of them. Like it had to be a nationwide thing,
including Rec.
At that time, I'm going to defend my A's fans because I was an A's fan. Right. And
1 of 5, exactly.
When they're good, that place, I mean, look, it doesn't sell out all year, but that place gets going. Like they're as far as passionate fans go, they're up here. Like they're not like when they're good, which they have every right to do what they do, not show up when they're terrible and show up when they're good. Most places I wouldn't say that. They have every right to do it because that's the way the organization works. The owner doesn't spend money. But when they show up, they're awesome.
That's the stadium 2 people were like boinking in the upper deck last year, right?
Correct. Yes.
And then
there was
I thought it was Minnesota.
No. And then there was some
Minnesota
in Toronto.
Shrinkage, it's so cold there, man. How could you even
middle of the summer? Come on.
When there's a will, there's a way. You should know this, Joe. All right, but yeah, then you had in Toronto that same exact thing happened, and that went viral over social media too, which was hilarious. But all right, 2 more pools. Pool C: Canada, Colombia, Great Britain, Mexico, USA.
Not even close.
Pool D is the only interesting one out of all these. Seriously, Dominican Republic, Israel, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, Venezuela. This one, I'm obviously going to say DR because they're the deepest. However, Venezuela and PR have respectable enough rosters where it wouldn't shock me if either of those 2 came out as like a slight upset, if you would, out of Pool D. But I'm obviously going to go with, without question, the best roster, which is DR. What about you guys?
Well, I mean, Rek, you said Japan's your pick to win it. DR is my pick to win it. I think that they're the best team.
Unless Gary Sanchez doesn't catch.
Ooh, all right. Going the defensive catcher, going with that for the reason that the DR doesn't win the World Baseball Classic.
It's not just defensive. Like, he's not a good game caller. He doesn't block the ball. The only thing he does is he has a really strong arm. He doesn't even get rid of the ball fast.
And he's not that accurate with it all the time. It's just like the ball gets there like that.
So,
but I think DR, I mean, come on, you got Juan Soto, you got Julio out there. I think the DR.
They don't even have Tatis.
And they have better pitching than the U.S.
Yep, they do.
That's my only
concern for the U.S.
I don't hate our pitching. Our starting pitching isn't what it could be.
Our pen, the arm
pen is very good. The pen is
unbelievably in that pen.
The thing that's gonna be okay is that the U.S. no one's gonna go 7 innings, right? Like at least not on the, as far as the big league guys. Like there might be some guys from Italy that go 7 innings, or somewhere where guys have like
each round
been building up.
How far they can.
I'm just saying, like there's going to be guys who go longer. I'm just saying, like Team USA, it's 9 batters, and then go to the bullpen, right? Like it's get through the lineup once, and then go to the bullpen, and that is going to save them because nobody's going to get to the point where they've been seen twice, and nobody is going to want to face that bullpen. Their worst pitcher might be David Bednar out of the pen, like. Good luck. That dude's filthy.
You might think Ottavino's our worst pitcher out of the pen.
I forgot he was on the team. Yeah, he is. But anyway.
Yeah, I mean, no, Team US, I think Japan, to me, it's like Japan and Puerto Rico for that 3rd place game. US, DR are the best two, in my opinion. By the way, I just have to address
the US and DR are going to play before you get to the finals. C and D play each other in the quarters.
It doesn't get reseeded like the top.
And then you go to the semi. Oh, well, I guess. I don't remember
Japan,
how the
you just had such an easy path, and you'd have Puerto Rico, DR, US like slugging it out.
I don't remember how the semis work.
So semis,
A and B go to one pool, C and D go to another pool, and then the top 2 out of each of those go to the semifinals. But I don't remember how those get broken down. So you might be right. You might be then they might flip and they might play. So that could happen. Yeah, you're right.
I would hope, only because then Japan's just got such they can just pitch their number 3.
They already do. Like you could just write Japan into the semifinal without even thinking about it. That's why they're my champ. Like they're already there. They're already in the semifinals. Right. And then they can basically set the rotation up however they want. Yeah. And they're going to be like, to me, that's the team, man. That team is phenomenal.
By the way, from a marketing perspective, the one issue, and I mean, look, it's the World Baseball Classic. It'll be fun. I'm not too invested. I have a major issue with Cuba playing in Asia. Couldn't you have just put Cuba? Like you could have put Israel or Nicaragua or someone else.
Can you imagine how electric it would be too?
Cuba and Miami? It's freaking Little Havana. Are you kidding me?
They're popping enough when you have Puerto Rico, Venezuela, etc. there. The roof would be blown off that place.
The stadium is literally in Little Havana.
Yesterday, there was literally no one at the game, to the point where you could clearly hear this one fan like hitting a cowbell or doing something after like every
car horn.
Thank you. After like every single pitch. Like there was no one there at all. And I was like, come on.
Christopher Walken, thinking you need a little cowbell at the baseball game.
There you go.
I don't think Wardy got that reference, Rek.
Cowbell?
He probably isn't. Yeah, he's not old enough for that one.
No, I know the cowbell reference, but you know what I first think of when I think cowbell? It's not even Walken. I think of Will Ferrell on SNL.
Oh, well, that's the skit.
Yeah, okay.
That's the same skit. Yeah,
he was on SNL.
Telling Will Ferrell, we need more cowbell.
Oh, okay, there we go. Then perfect.
I thought you were going to say Cowbell Man. Shout out to Eddie. We'll see him at Citi Field in a month.
Hey-o.
All right. So for me, while DR feels like they're going to win, I'm going to just go full American. Team USA. That's my pick. So Rek, Japan, Joe, we got ourselves a DR. I'll go with USA. We should do like a little wager with this too. I don't know what kind of wager, but we should do
Wardy has become a betting theme since
let's let the people in the comments give
us
our
for picks now, Joe. It's getting there.
Wardy, you have become a betting theme since we met.
I just texted my barber picks tonight because he saw I was showing him what I want for my cut, and he's like, "Oh, you bet on FanDuel," because he saw my camera roll, and we had an hour-long conversation on our betting picks.
Whoa, did West Virginia hit on a show sponsored by Bet Online? Did you just say the F word?
No, I said Bet Online.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of bets, how's West Virginia doing?
Let's check it out.
Oh baby, 16-point win, had a -3.5. My kids
Boom.
can go to college.
Wish I'd have gotten in on that.
Oh man, if they lost that, I would have had to get a vasectomy. No way I could afford having kids.
One last thing I want to show you guys and people that are watching the live show today. You can see it if you're audio. Unfortunately, you can't. Well, the other day, my grandfather was really nice. And initially, he got himself a really cool watch. He loves Invictas. He loves like the submarine watches, especially like at least 5 pounds on his wrist. He doesn't wear it. That's how he goes. And he got himself a Yankees watch purposely to mess with me. The guy is not a sports geek at all. He can't name you one player on the Yanks, but he purposely got it to just razz me. So I'm like, okay. And then 2 days ago, he called me over and I'm like, okay. He shows me, and he got me the same watch, but for the Mets. So, and I really like it because on the side, there's like a chain to give you like the baseball threading, which is really cool. But this thing like feels like a workout. I took like 3 or 4 links out just to fit my wrist properly. And I still feel like it's freaking my left arm is already getting longer than the right. What's that?
That fun size wrist.
Fun size wrist. My wrists used to be a lot thicker when I was more active, especially on my fitness team in high school. But
you lost some girth.
A lot for sure. Lost some girth. Absolutely. It is what it is.
Hey, Oregon State +11 tonight, guys. That's the last thing I can leave you with. Oregon State +11.
Alrighty. All right. Well, this was an episode.
Episode 50.
Episode 50 of Bleav in Queens. Yep. Make sure to check out Joe at this Raw Sports Podcast. Make sure to check out Rec on MLB Network. And me, just make sure to check me out here on YouTube per usual. And also anyone that's going to be in Port St. Lucie from March 10th to the 14th, look out for your short schmucked boy. I will be there at pretty much every Mets spring game. The only game I might not be going to, someone asked me in the chat, is when they face Tampa, because that'll be in Tampa, I'm pretty sure. And that's a little too steep of a drive for what I have in store. And I'll also be going to WBC Sunday night game, Venezuela versus Puerto Rico. Might even go to a Puerto Rican game the day before. I want to say against Nicaragua, but I'm not certain. Don't know for sure yet, but there's going to be fun content coming out of that. So stay tuned for that, guys. And yeah, thanks for your endless support. And as always, let's go Mets. All right, talk to you guys next week.
I want to hear a fun size on the air from one of you when you see Wardy there.
Okay.